favorite mobile app has got to be Instagram, because I like seeing what people are putting out there, how they're living their life, what kind of pictures they're taking. For myself, I do a lot of traveling, so I like to take pictures of different places I've been out in the world. I was out in Singapore a few months ago, so we got a lot of nice pictures up on my Instagram. Facebook is becoming too inundated with people's lives, so I'd rather just see their pictures, so I gotta say Instagram. If I could sleep with anyone, who would it be? Man, is this like a trick question? You guys trying to get me in trouble? See, I'm married, so I gotta say my wife. Any other answer gonna get a brother in trouble. So for all the married people watching this, if you're in a relationship, you know why I had to say that. You know, I find a lot of other women beautiful and attractive, but I'm gonna keep it safe. You know how it is. My favorite word has to be can't. And I say can't because it's motivational. When anybody says I can't do anything, I want to prove them wrong. It gives me the motivation. So just tell me I can't do something, kind of leaves me fired up. So that's why I gotta go with can't. If I could transport myself back to any time, I'm gonna go to the medieval era. Maybe because I'm a big fan of Game of Thrones. I know it's not realistic how that was in the medieval era, but I kind of like, you know, being king, queen, living like that, you know, big goblets of wine, big, you know, chickens, turkeys, lots of food like that. You know, I could be an entertainer back in the day. They had those too. Doesn't necessarily have to be rapping, but I like those medieval times. The only thing that scares me about that time period is the way they kill people. You know, the hangings, things like that. You know, even jousting, that's a serious sport. So that's the one thing I like to avoid. So I keep it safe back there, but I definitely check out the medieval era. All right, 3 people dead or alive. First one, I gotta go with my grandfather. You know, I'll say both of my grandfathers. They passed on, rest in peace. I always enjoy kicking it with them because they gave me so much knowledge, so definitely want to kick it with them. Another person who's always inspired me is Jackie Robinson. I finally saw the movie for the first time, 42. So I'd love to talk to him and just see what was going through his mind when he was breaking the color barrier. And since I had that tie for the first one, the number 3, I'm gonna do a tie as well. I'm gonna go with Big and Pac, because both of those guys, they seem like guys you could just kick it with and just chill out and be real entertaining. With Big, he'd be telling you some crazy stories. Pac, you know, he'd be partying wild. So definitely I'd like to go and kick it with those cats. Dream collaboration, I'm gonna have to go with Busta Rhymes. The thing I like about Busta is the way he flips it on different beats, and it always challenges another MC to step up their game and see how they want to flow. I'm a real flow-based rapper. I like to put a different flow on every type of track, so I love the challenge of going verse for verse with Busta Rhymes and giving something that people can get down to and party to. How'd I change the world? I start with the youth. One of the things I like through my stage-driven program is I get a chance to kick it with a lot of youth and visit schools and talk to them. And by changing the minds of the young people, hopefully when they grow up a few years, they're gonna change the minds of some other people. So you gotta start with the young ones. A lot of older heads, a little hard-headed in their ways. I started to become a little stuck in my ways, a little stubborn sometimes. So you gotta teach the youth, get them while they're young, before they jaded, and they realize what some of the real world can be like. Finally, an easy question for me. If there's a movie based on my life, I'm basing it on my name, D.O., Defy the Odds. All about how you have to rise above challenges, rise above adversity. I grew up in a lot of places where I was the only person who was a rapper. I was the only person of color. And people said, man, you can't be a rapper. You're from Canada. So I was able to defy the odds. This year I'm celebrating 10 years of being in the game, self-employed. Set a Guinness World Record doing it too. So gotta defy the odds, baby. Check it out in your movie theaters 2020. Oh yeah. 3 things I'm gonna bring. Number 1, a rhyme book. Take it to back in the day, because if I brought my laptop, I can't go on the internet anyway, so bring a big, thick rhyme book. Get back in the days of writing my rhymes like that. Number 2, bring a nice pair of running shoes. I like to get my jog on. I be jogging all over the island, seeing what's popping on there. Number 3, a big bottle of Appleton's rum. You know, if you're on an island, there ain't much to do. Some nights you just gotta take a sip, take it all in. So those are the 3 requirements I need on that island. My favorite place has got to be my man cave in my house. I love stepping downstairs. I got a nice studio in my basement. I got a projector, so I got the big screen up. I do a lot of traveling. This year I've enjoyed going out to Singapore and Taiwan and Amsterdam. But hey, there's no place like home. So I take it back home. A close second would be Amsterdam. Love being out there. I've been there 5 times this year, so that's a close second, but gotta take it back to the crib. My favorite video game has been the same game for the last 20 years. Every year I purchase a copy of Madden Football, playing with my Pittsburgh Steelers, who aren't doing so good this year, but Madden gets better every year, and right now it's a beautiful game. The only thing that's bad about it is I don't get a chance to play like I used to when I was a teenager, so I ain't even gonna talk about how I'm gonna beat anybody out there online, because my game isn't what it used to be, but I can still hold my own. Madden Football is the way to go. I would love to be able to rap in Chinese, Mandarin, Cantonese, something like that. Reason why is I've been over to Asia a few times and I've seen MCs or singers switch it up from going to English into some Chinese, and the crowd goes crazy. So especially when they don't expect you to switch it up, I think that'd be pretty crazy, because I've been performing in front of these crowds in Taiwan, and it's great seeing people wave their hands in the air, not knowing what you're talking about half the time. So if I could actually engage them in their own language for a moment and make it rhyme, game over. I think it's really about mastering the business. You got to start with your craft of being an MC for sure, but if you really want this to be your job, not just a part-time thing, not just something you do for fun, it's cool too, but you got to master the business part. And you could be like, yo, I'm gonna get a manager to do that. But even if you got that, you still really got to know what's going on, and you got to pay attention to it just the same way that you would writing your rhymes to go in the studio and spit that. Because when I'm doing my business work, I'll put on some beats, I'll put on some of the hottest records, some of my records, my friends' records, and that'll get me fired up, and I'll come in it with that same type of intensity. Even though I might not want to be doing it, I know that's what's gonna take me further in my career. So you definitely gotta learn about the music business.